Episode 4. Four. What's up, y'all? I'm back. I know it's been a little bit, but episode 4 is going down right now. I am going to be doing a deep dive on my All-NBA teams, the players, the top 15 players of the league this season, arranged by position, obviously. Why I got them there, why they deserve to be there, why certain players didn't make it and whatnot. And this is the best time of year for me, just because, all year long, you spend debating with your boys, your pops, your sis, your cousin, your shorty, your grandmother, your coworker, colleague, whatever, babysitter, I don't care, teacher, whatever the case may be, you debating with them, talking about who the best players in the league are, why they are, who the best team is, all that jazz. You understand what I'm saying? But right now, all the games are, we got like a couple days left into the play-ins, but it is time. It is time to rank the top 15 players, the NBA this season, arranged by position, my way, my style, not ESPN's way, not Fox Sports way, not anybody's way, my way. It might be a little similar. I'm not someone, before I go into it, I'm not someone that I like, obviously winning is the most important thing. Winning does count, it does matter, but at the end of the day, this is the top 15 players this season. It's similar to like the All-Star format, and as you saw in episode 2 when I went on my little rant with my All-Star picks and positions and whatnot, it's a little bit similar. It gets a little tricky. For example, Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, they're both ranked. I guess they're both open for forward, the forward position. But are we really gonna go away from history? History has shown that guys like Bill Russell has made numerous second team All NBAs because Wilt Chamberlain was making all the first teams. They're both centers. That's just what you gotta deal with. These are actual set basketball lineups. There's only one center. And last time I checked, Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic don't play forward. So I'm going to try and do my best to kind of align my teams the way history has aligned it. I hope you guys have fun with it. And, let's get to it. Starting right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sounds real dramatic. Like something's coming. Got that real intro type vibe to it. Yeah. Enough of the smoke. It's bad boy, baby. Yeah. 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 They go by the name of Q, Mike, Slim, Deron. And this is part 3. Like the third album. Like the third time we've been here. Like part 3. They represent the ATF. Come on.
Just a little 12 is all you need. Just a little 12 is all you need. Just a little 12 is all you need. Oh, baby. Just a little 12 is all you need.
All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls. So the way I'm going to break this down, we're going to go team by team. I'm going to go from third team up. I'm going to list the 5, and then each player I'm going to kind of break down why. And, in the midst of that, I know there's going to be certain players that, as you're watching this, I'm going to name players, third team. And you're probably going to think in your head, oh, he had this player, this team. Why wasn't this guy there? So I'll try and kind of make my best guess at, what the popular opinion is or the popular debate is on why X player is in this position and why Y player is not in that position. So to start us off, third team All-NBA. My backcourt is Steph Curry.
Here's Curry for the record. It's good! And there it is! Stephen Curry! The all-time three-point king of the NBA!
Chris Paul.
Handle, isolated against Porzingis. 6 to shoot. Paul, too easy.
Lonzo Ball, 2 to shoot. Chris Paul has the.
And my front court is Jimmy Butler.
Here's Hero for Butler. Oh my!
Winding down, final 6 seconds. It's a steal by Butler, racing ahead of Cole Anthony for the score.
DeMar DeRozan.
Starting all the way up to it. Little windshield wiper for DeRozan, and he hits it.
DeRozan.
And Karl Anthony Towns.
58% for San Antonio, 55% for Minnesota. Towns moves the Wolves. Towns, who's done it all tonight, pulls up in front of Collins and drills it.
So this was actually very. It was a little tricky. Before I get into these 5, there were guys like, and I'll shout them out real quick. Guys like Pascal Siakam, he's been playing at I'll say superstar level because the numbers speak for themselves. The Raptors are in the playoffs. They're winning games, obviously. They're beating quality teams. It's not like he's taking 35 shots a game. He's playing defense. His game's really well-rounded, especially after the past couple years he's had. Ever since I think it was the 2019 playoffs with Kawhi, that's really when Pascal Siakam's name started to really, catch some noise before the Raptors got that ring. And I think last year he took a little bit of a step back, but he never really got that. He's never really gotten that same all-star respect as, the guys that tend to make it every year. But, Toronto's a playoff team, and he's their best player. So, kudos to him. I just want to shout him out. I want to shout out my guy, Jaylen Brown. I really, really, really wanted to make a case for him to make this team, but it's just... I think early on in the year when he was out due to COVID... and then he had a bum hamstring. He had a bum hammy that was bothering him. So, he missed some games, but I thought he should have been an all-star this year. Undisputedly. I thought he was the biggest snub. You saw it in episode 2. That's how highly I think of Jaylen Brown. I think JB's he's amazing talent. I think he's come a long way. A raw athlete out of Cal. He's a very well-rounded shooting guard. He can play D. He can shoot the 3 ball at a very high clip now. He can create off the dribble. He's a great athlete. And he's just a good player. He's just a good player. And the best thing about it is usually guys of his caliber as a number 2, as people like to call it. I don't want to call him a number 2 just because we'll never know what the ceiling is with Jaylen Brown. He's put up 50 points this year. He's had big performances prior. He's been to the playoffs for the Celtics for years and years and years, dating back to when, Isaiah was there. He's a big-time player. He really is. Obviously, Tatum being there and Tatum's stats in the league, we already know what type of talent he is. Someone as humble and as aware as Jaylen Brown to, know the pieces around him. I don't know him personally, but from what I can see, he's a very humbling individual. He doesn't really care about all that glamorous stuff. Obviously, he wants his respect, but as long as he's winning, and obviously every player wants to get his, but winning at the end of the day is what matters to him. So usually guys at that number 2 position, they don't tend to just take that back seat to the number 1 guy or the superstar or the franchise player like Tatum. Egos, there's a lot of egos in the NBA. There's a lot of egos in life, Just picture yourself. You're playing number 2 behind another man. Men, we are very prideful. We are very prideful individuals. It's not easy for you to, take a step back and be like, it's best if this is the guy. And I'm just, and I hate to say Batman because he's not a Batman. If Batman and he's not a Robin, I'm sorry. I think he has the talent to be a Batman, but we're never gonna know that. He's just in a perfect situation right now. None of that stuff even matters to him. It honestly doesn't matter to me either, especially as a fan of the Jason Tatum and the Jaylen Brown pairing. He doesn't care about that. But anyways, I want to shout out Siakam and Jaylen Brown real quick because they were like the 2 people that were like real close to making my 3rd team. Oh, excuse me. Also Darius Garland too. Darius Garland was also very, very close to making this team. Shout out to him too. The Cavs are, they're in the play-in right now. I know they just lost to the Nets last night, but I mean, Garland's been their most consistent player. He's been their best player. Made his first All-Star game. So I just want to shout those guys out. But back to my third team. So as I said, I had Steph Curry and CP3 in my backcourt. Steph Curry, basically the sole reason why the Warriors are where they are in the postseason. I think they're fourth in the standings. Clay and Draymond haven't been there. I know he had like a 2-month. Well, I mean, to begin the year, he was an MVP candidate. The first month and a half to 2 months, he was just going ballistic. 40 balls everywhere, shooting the ball at a high clip, unguardable. It's the chef. I mean, these are things that we see every year anyways. And then, amidst the Draymond injury, it was a bit of a transition. He had to be a little bit more on ball. He wasn't getting as easy of looks as he was prior. And, obviously coming with that, was usage rate shot up. He's got to exert more energy. Like I said, the looks weren't as easy, so the shots aren't always falling. He went through a little minor slump. I mean, for his degree, 2 months. I mean, not even crazy. I mean, he's used to shooting the ball at at least a 48% clip, 47, 48. I know it's down 43, 44, but I mean, field goal percentage. It's not like they're bad shots. It's just he's just getting tougher looks. So, he went through a little bit of a slump. But the Warriors were still, they're still winning games. I mean, obviously their system works out great. He still was averaging 25 a night, still shooting nearly 40% from three. It's the chef. It's one of the best players of all time. So I don't really got to speak too much on him. He was, and people might be shocked that I put him on third team. I know a lot of people had him at first, maybe second. But the point guard position is too deep. It's just too deep. But, I had Steph on my third team. Next to him, obviously, Chris Paul. Chris Paul, the engine behind Phoenix this year. I know Devin Booker's been getting a lot of love. Then he held ship for him when he got hurt. But, prior to CP3's injury, he was just killing. I mean, he's the point guard. Lead the league in assists this year at just under 11. Turnovers are just... He doesn't turn the ball over. As I say, I was going to bring out a number. I think it's at 2 or something like that, 2.5, which is that's just what we're accustomed to. None of these numbers even just shock me, especially someone of his caliber. First ballot, the Suns, best team in the league. I can't really say the Suns weren't going to ascend to become the franchise they are today because of Chris Paul or, in spite of Chris Paul, but he definitely helped, accelerate that. He definitely helped put that more in motion, especially the ascendance of Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, DeAndre Ayton, Jay Crowder. Chris Paul just makes everyone's lives easier as he has his whole career. So I had him there in the backcourt, Steph Curry. My front court, Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat, #1 seed in the East. I understand Jimmy's been out with numerous injuries. And it's actually funny because I was thinking to myself the other day, all the guys that played in the bubble, guys like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. I think I'm trying to think of basically the guys that were playing from the second round on. I think I hit most of them. But anyways, my point being, since the bubble and then that short offseason after the Lakers, beat the Heat, all those guys, or most of them, I think out of all the 10 names I named, I think 7, 8, or 9 of them have been, hit with a significant injury. Kawhi tore his ACL. PG's dealt with his elbow after playing, I think, the first month and a half. Bam has been dinged up. Jimmy Butler's been dinged up with ankle and, knee injuries, lower extremity injuries. LeBron had an abdominal injury, ankle, he's been dinged up. Anthony Davis has been dinged up all year. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, those guys who participated, they've been, they dealt with COVID and stuff, but Jaylen Brown he was dealing with a hamstring injury earlier. Tatum, he's been dinged up too. My point being is just all these guys after that short offseason, it's affected them in one way or another. Whether it was, and I hate to bring up COVID, but COVID was COVID, and COVID definitely played it played a factor into, people getting hurt, people being out, stuff like that. So I don't think people really understand how detrimental, that short offseason was to, these players' bodies. And some of these guys are a lot older. Guys like PG, Kawhi, Anthony Davis, LeBron, like, they have a lot of miles on them. You know what I mean? Obviously, guys like Donovan Mitchell, Nikola Jokic, knock on wood, obviously, they haven't suffered any sort of main injury. Kudos to them. Obviously, they've been available for the teams. But just the fact that short offseason it's been tough. So, with that being said, Jimmy Butler, I have him starting off my front court. He's been dinged up with injuries, though the Heat they've been great. Obviously, they come from that grit and grind mold, something similar to like a team like the Memphis Grizzlies. But that's always been Pat Riley's, kind of his motto. He's just, kind of go get it. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter your stats in the league. Doesn't matter how much money you're making. You're going to hustle. You're going to work. And it's paid off. I mean, Tyler Hero's on his way to, again, a sixth man. Bam Adebayo keeps getting better and better, like, each year. Jimmy Butler has, continued to prove why he's one of the best two-way players in the game. I mean, in history, honestly. I mean, he's 21, 6-6. He's not flashy. He doesn't care about that, but he makes a team-winning play, and he just knows how to win games. So I had Jimmy Butler there. Next to Jimmy Butler, I had DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's pretty much been a bucket all year. He's been an MVP candidate like 80% of the year. I think he fell out. I don't know if I have him on a top 5 ballot this year just because the performance of players this year has been crazy. I could name off like 5-6 MVP candidates. It seems like there was an MVP candidate like once a week. Anyone that went off was just an MVP candidate. And it wasn't because we're just throwing the term MVP candidate at everyone. Nah, it was just everyone was just playing at this superb level. It's insane. It just, just goes to show you the skill, the level of, shot making and scoring ability that all these guys are at. Everyone's at mercy every night. You know what I mean? I always tell my boys this, that like right now we're going through, I usually say the golden age of the point guards or the golden age of the guard position, but I think we're in the golden age of just basketball in general as far as skill. Like I was listening to KD and JJ Redick's podcast the other day, and he was just talking about how deep the league is with just shot makers, and he had mentioned a guy like Reggie Jackson, and that was a perfect example that KD made. There are so many guys that can just create and initiate offense just like that, and it's not just a simple dribble pull-up. It's a bunch of tweens, hesitations, insane footwork, spin moves, crossovers, FaceTime threes, poster dunks. It's the skill right now in the league, like right now as we stand, is probably as deep as it's ever been in terms of just skill, players having a bag. It's crazy. We're seeing sidesteps. I tell whoever I talk hoop with all the time, like, man, this is really like the golden age. Like, I don't think you guys understand. Like, yes, we gotta cherish guys like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and their shot making ability. But these new guys are insane. Like guys like Tatum, Booker. I'll even say a guy like Michael Porter Jr. I mean, he's not at this like all-star stature yet, but he has the ceiling to be that, and it's crazy because he's so young. It's funny that I say young. Trae Young. It's crazy that he just popped into my head as I said that. There's so many guys in the league right now that are just able to make a perimeter shot or just score in isolation. It's I know I'm not trying to say isolation players are the best thing in the world or isolation is the best thing that's going to solve your problem, but you watch the playoffs, it slows down. It's all about half-court offense. It's not a lot of flash break. It's a lot of half-court offense, a lot of initiated plays, a lot of ISO. It's basically let my guy beat your guy. Let your guy beat my guy. Let me show you how he's going to beat you. And that's what makes, teams like the Nets dangerous. I was going to say teams like the Lakers, but I just realized they're not even in the playoffs. Like, oh man, oh, that's painful. Anyways, let me get back to my team. I'm sorry, I just had a little tangent. The league is so deep. The league is just so deep. I'm just grateful to be able to watch these guys on a night-to-night basis. It's been amazing. And, you know, as I'm talking about all these isolation players, DeMar DeRozan, who has been 28, 5-5 all year. The Bulls have been hit with numerous injuries. Caruso, Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine's been dealing with a lot of knee injuries too. Who else? There's another guy that's been in there. Oh, Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams broke his wrist before the year even started. So the Bulls have been hit with a lot of injuries. So I don't think anyone really expected this type of year from DeMar DeRozan, to be honest with you. Especially fresh out of his stint in San Antonio, it seems like he was kind of flying under the radar, especially for a guy that people thought might have been washed, might have been done after the Kawhi trade. But like I said, the skill is at a different level, and he's the epitome of skill. The footwork, the mid-range jumpers, the ability to get to the foul line, the pump fakes, the all-around shot-making ability is just insane right now in the league. And he's just, you know, he's been at the forefront of it, you know, carrying the Bulls to wins, being an MVP candidate. I had to put him on third team. And just like I said about Steph Curry, he had a chance. I mean, at the mid-season, at like the All-Star break, well, not the All-Star break, but the midpoint of this year, I think I might have had him like first team. He was really first. He was first team All-NBA. I think I had him first team All-NBA next to, and I'm gonna say a player's name, but that'll kind of give away, you know, where he is. But I'm not gonna say it. But at one point, DeMar DeRozan was a first team member. It's not like he fell off. It's just the league is just so deep. Players just started up in their level. It's wild. But I mean, a guy I can't remember the last guy to average 28, 5-5. Team's gonna make the playoffs, and they make third team All NBA. What does that tell you? 28 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, hitting his free throws, shooting great from the floor, efficient, carrying the Bulls to wins, and he's gonna make third team. And trust me, I'm not crazy for putting him third team. Trust me. There are a lot of guys, a lot of media members and people out there that are putting him third team. At most second team. And if you're putting him second team, then there's probably someone that really got snubbed. But yeah, I have DeMar DeRozan at my fourth spot on third team next to Jimmy Butler. At the center position, I have Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is, I feel like I don't really have to say much about him. He's one of the most skilled big men of all time. Not even just now, just all time. He's another guy that can just make so many shots on the perimeter. I think he just had a 60-point game, like, I think it was like, what, a month ago maybe? I think it was the day before Kyrie went off for 60 against the Magic. Or was it the same day? I don't remember, whatever. But Towns is, he's a big scorer. There's no really slowing him down. He can score in the paint, pick and pop, pick and roll, catch and shoot. He's starting to hit little step backs here and there. And he's shooting 41% from three this year. 41. Like it seems like he's now going to like and he's been doing this for a while now, the 40%. He's starting to assert himself into a class of, like, you know, the real skilled big man, like the Dirk Nowitzki conversation. He's starting to assert himself into that, you know, that ability. I'm not saying he can score like Dirk Nowitzki, but in terms of shooting the ball and being a big, yeah, he's in that class. He's definitely in that class. But with that being said, that's my third team. Steph, CP3, Jimmy Butler, DeMar DeRozan, Karl-Anthony Towns. It's going to get fun. This is going to get real fun. We're only getting started, but second team coming up next.
Welcome to the Bad Boy World Champion PGA Tour. I'm your host for the day, Mace Gumble.
All right. Like I said, it's going to get a little bit more fun. You know what I'm saying? We're inching closer and closer. But for my second team, like I said, I'm just going to list them off. I'm just going boom, 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 boom. So for my second team, I had Trae Young.
30-30 Tim.
And John Morant in my backcourt.
Sixth. Morant blows by Primo. Attack.
Holy cow! That is unbelievable!
The front court was rounded out by Jason Tatum.
Tatum using the Pritchard screen. We get a switch. Tatum, step back three. Oh, yeah. Tice, Tatum, and Nesmith, 5 on the floor for the Celtics. Oh, Jason Tatum, bullseye.
LeBron James.
It was pretty good defense that time by AD, but you're right. After he made that play, hobbling on one leg. LeBron! 2 hands!
And Nikola Jokic.
Joker. Alley-oop to Ball! And pandemonium in Denver.
Don't have to do anything fancy with that pass. You got Bull running.
It's a pretty nasty 5. Pretty nasty, right? Yeah, I think so too. So anyways, Trae Young. Trae Young has a stat line that would really be a first-team lock, but the sad part is his team just, they weren't winning games. And I hate to bring winning into it. I actually hate bringing winning into it. But, it matters. It really does matter. And the point guard position primarily is, like I already said previously, it's just deep as hell. It's just too deep. But he's got the most 30-point, 10-assist games in the league. I think Luka's behind him. And he's, just like Luka, one of the only players that's top 5 in points and assists. That's ludicrous. And this is not a guy that's just... I know Trae Young's had this stigma, which I think he's, this stigma and this narrative that he's kind of gotten rid of, especially in the playoffs against the Knicks and, leading the Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Bucks last year. This stigma that he's just a pound, doesn't like to share the rock, just a me guy. Not the case at all. He's a team guy. The Hawks have pieces. They just kind of haven't really put it together. I really can't explain why they couldn't bring it together this year, but he balled. 28 and 10, shooting. I don't even know what he's shooting. He's shooting like 38% from 3, which is still like pretty damn good. And he's taking a lot. If you're shooting 38% from 3 and you're taking a high volume, that's pretty solid. But as soon as Trae Young steps on the court, it doesn't matter who's out there with him. Your offense is going to be, run like a well-oiled machine, one way or another. Whether you want to play Trae off ball or on ball, whether you want him to run the pick and roll or have someone else do it, he's a threat from anywhere. He gets the same treatment as Steph in terms of that respect from half court. I'm not obviously saying he's as efficient as Steph or he is Steph, and I know people don't like the Steph Trae Young comparisons because it's not like we're saying Trae Young is as good of a shooter as Steph Curry, even though he's a pretty damn good shooter. He's a great shooter. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but he gets the same. I think he gets put in that Steph Curry comparison room just because, for one, he can handle the ball amazing, and 2, his range. He might not be as accurate as Steph, but his range is Steph. He's got Steph range 100%. That's just undisputed. But I had him on second team. There's nothing to knock about 28 and 10 assists. That's just... he's arguably the best dual point guard in the league. Not the best point guard, but the best dual point guard. So the best guy that can pass and score and pass. I feel like you really can't say dual point guard before you say Trae Young. Yeah, that's just how good he is. So I have him on my second team. Next to him, I have John Morant. John Morant was just like DeMar DeRozan. He was the name that I mentioned earlier. He was the name that, just like DeRozan, was going to make first team at my midseason point. But, the injuries, I know he's been dealing with some knee stuff. I guess it's rumored he's supposed to... I don't know if he was questionable for today's game or tomorrow's game, but regardless, he's questionable. I think people already knew people were already optimistic that he was coming back for the playoffs anyways, so it didn't really matter. But, the Memphis is 20-3 without him, which I'm not saying to knock on him. That has nothing to do with All-NBA. That has nothing to do with his ability. Has nothing to do with what he's brought to the team. He's brought great things to the team. He's definitely the reason why they are where they are. I definitely don't think they have the same season without him, even though they're 23 without him. There's a difference between a guy being there and then taking a guy and their spirit away from the team. If you were just going to tell me that you're rolling out a team with Trey Jones, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks, it would still be a solid team, but I mean, this team's like third in the West. Are we really gonna say that if John Morant was not there and elsewhere that would be the same team? Really? I don't know. I don't know if I can say that. I think I feel like that's kind of disrespectful to Ja, especially with the year he had. He was an MVP candidate up until the injury, and you know, he's the best player on a 55-win team at the end of the day. So you know, he deserves every ounce of respect. Next to him, well, not next to him, but in my front court, I have Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum might be the only guy that might make, not the only guy, it might be like him, Giannis, Joel Embiid, maybe Jimmy Butler. The only guys that are going to make an all-NBA team and an all-defensive team. Tatum's arguably, probably after Butler and Ben Simmons, I would probably deem him probably the third best defensive wing in the league, or Matisse Thybulle too. You could put him. It depends on how you want to think about it. I don't know if Matisse is Matisse is kind of a wing. I can't even say kind of. He's a wing. But bottom line, you understand what I'm saying. Tatum's in that room. I know you guys heard me bring up Tatum, and you probably thought, oh, why is he not talking about his offense? I mean, we all knew he could score. We saw it the day he dunked on LeBron back in 2018. We already know he's a natural gifted scorer. He has plenty of scoring titles on the way for him. That's how good of a scorer he is. He can score all three levels. I don't really got to say much. I mean, he put up 27, 8, and 4. I think much of the growth that we've seen from Tatum has come from his playmaking and willingness to, you know, play with others and, you know, share the ball more. And I shouldn't even say willingness. It's not like he was a selfish player, but just adapting, being able to grasp that role as the guy, the number one guy, the number one option, and being able to use your teammates and utilize them and, you know, basically enhance their abilities, you know, it's the best they can be. I mean, I feel like that's really that next step that number one players or number one talents tend to have a problem with, that they're told how great they are, that in tough situations where they're asked to make a very critical decision or a game-changing decision, they end up just saying, you know what, I'm this great, I'm going to take it upon himself. It takes a lot for a guy to, you know, take a step back and be like, hey, why don't I utilize this guy? Why don't I pass the ball to this guy? Why don't I use this, do that? Just to alleviate him of some pressure, and at the same time remind your teammates you're instilling confidence in him. Like, hey, I know you can go create a bucket for yourself. Go do that. That's what I feel like makes the whole Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown pairing so unique and beautiful, is that they both know their role. They both basically know what they bring to the table, and they utilize each other. And on top of that, they play both ends. Like, if I was an opposing GM, I'd probably try and stir the shit out of that too. I'd probably be over there making up rumors saying, hey, Tatum and Brown hate each other. Split them up, because that's a nightmare. You know, this is basically, like I've said it, you know, time and time again, it's basically a mirroring image of Kawhi and PG. Not in terms of, you know, right now. I'm not saying they're Kawhi and PG right now. They're not. But, I mean, if there's anyone in the league that's close in terms of duos, in terms of 3-level wings that can, you know, score, pass, and defend, rebound, and do all the things that, like, you're asked as a wing, they're as close as it can be. And I feel like Jason Tatum, who's been the forefront of, you know, the best defense in the league, him, Smart, and Brown, you know, Derek White, Rob Williams. I can't believe I mentioned all those guys before Rob Williams. Shout out Rob Williams, too. Get back real soon. We're going to need you for the first round, man. We're going to need you. But anyways, sorry for the sidetrack. But Tatum's been, you know, he's been the guy, too. He's been a great leader. And at the end of the day, like, I asked myself, like, bro, how many guys have given Kevin Durant 50 points on numerous occasions? How many? Think about that. You can pause it too. You can pause this video, go Google, and find out how many opposing players have given Kevin Durant 50 points. I bring that up because I'm big on player performance peaks, especially in the playoffs. That's when it counts the most. And Jason Tatum, 50 points is nothing to slouch about. 50 points is 50 points. That's one thing. But 50 points in the playoffs is one thing. And then 50 points and winning is another thing. And that Sunday afternoon when Brooklyn came to Boston, he said, hey, I'm better than Kevin Durant. And he has every right to believe that. I mean, why not? He doesn't have to bow down to Kevin Durant. I mean, they just spent the damn summer together in Tokyo, winning a gold medal. And you heard Tatum come on the JJ podcast. Shout out JJ, great podcast. I love everything you bring to the game. Shout out JJ and the whole gang. He said on the JJ podcast how KD was like, hey, go do your thing, bro. I need you to kill. Like, you're like that too. That's big. I mean, and that can go, and you heard him. He said that can go ways for players. And now you see he came back year one not year one, but since the Olympics. And he's been killing on both ends. He's killing the Jason Tatum superstar leap. It's not even a leap anymore. He's there. Like, he's there. There's no more debates about him being a top 10 player. No, there's no more debates. He's there right now. I really was like this close to putting him first team, but like I told you, the league is too deep. If he had been playing like this from day one, and I'll cut him some slack because he had COVID. Ime Udoka, new coach. But at the same time, it's like, bro, this guy's hooping, man. This guy's really hooping. So, shout out Jason Tatum. I know I kind of went a little long on him, but
this is really what I try to do. Like, third quarter, fourth quarter, always have that.
But I just want to give him his flowers. Definitely should be an MVP candidate. And I think he needs to be taken just a little bit more serious. I know people like to mention the Luka Doncic, the Devin Bookers. And, in the next room, they kind of put, Jason Tatum, Trae Young, guys who put up big numbers but haven't won a lot. But, man, like, this is Jason Tatum. He's been to how many Eastern Conference Finals? Like, 2? I think 2 or 3? I think 2. But the numbers are there. The growth is there. The size is there. He's bigger. And the team this is probably the best team he's had surrounded around him since he's come into the league. Not in terms of talent, but in terms of just the right pieces to surround a 3-level superstar scoring wing. You need someone who's gonna defend. You got Jaylen Brown, Marcus, Rob Williams. Ime Udoka has a great defensive switching system that basically enhances all those guys and their long wingspans. It's not a fluke. Like, Boston is one of the best defenses that we've seen in a long time, and they might have a couple All-NBA defenders, 2 or 3. I mean, I think Rob, Marcus, and Jason Tatum, they all might make an all-defensive team. Crazy as that sounds. And Jalen is no slouch on defense either. Derek White, the guy who they just traded for at the trade deadline from the Spurs, who also has some track history with Ime Udoka, not a slouch either. So I just think we guys just take Tatum a little bit more serious. So, shout out to Tatum. I'm only signed like this because LeBron James making a second team All-NBA just doesn't sound right in the history of the NBA. It just doesn't sound right. Guys like when you think about the GOATs, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem, Shaq, Tim Duncan. They like second team All-NBA sounds like failure. That's what it sounds like because that's just how great and dominant they are. LeBron James making second team. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. But I had to do it. I just had to do it. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if I need my temperature checked. But it doesn't sound right. But I have some reasoning as to why I put him second. Some people had him third. And I was just like, I think some people had him first. But it's just like, I had to find that middle ground. You know what I mean? The stats are there. The stats are 100% there. I saw them roll in my eye. The stats are there. I mean, he's most likely going to be a scoring champ. I saw a stat today that said him and Michael Jordan are the only players ever to average 38 and 6 and shoot over 50% from the field. And I looked it up. I hate to drag KD into this LeBron thing, but I just think that the LeBron KD, to me personally, I just think that the LeBron KD rivalry should be on the same par as Magic Larry. I just feel like it should. I just feel like it should. It's just two guys prime of their careers. Not now, but two guys basically throughout their careers have just been going at it. They face each other in NBA Finals. They've beat each other. They've played on Olympic teams together. They played together, I believe once, but they've worked out together. They know each other very well on the basketball court. They know each other very, very well. They've tangled a couple times. I just see it as that. But anyways, back to what I was saying about the stat. I looked it up because I saw it and I said, damn, Kevin Durant's not averaging 30, 8 and 6 right now? And it turns out he's averaging 7 rebounds. So he's averaging 30, 7 and 6. Because he's averaging 6 assists, which is a career high. He's averaging 7 rebounds. So he would, obviously, as you get what I'm saying, and the exact number is 7.4. I mean, I'm just a weirdo like that. I have certain numbers. Like, I might not remember someone's phone number, but I can tell you right now what Kevin Durant's averaging exactly for rebounds just because I can see it and just put it in my head. Right now, he's averaging 7.4 rebounds a game. He would be in that group too with, KD and LeBron. I mean, with Jordan and LeBron. But anyways, LeBron James, like I said, not making first team just doesn't sit right with me. Especially because to me, and it's crazy because I was talking to Adrian Chasen Waswa when I went for Andrew's birthday party like 3 weeks ago, and I was sitting with them and I was like, yo, is LeBron James not an MVP candidate? Like, why is he not an MVP candidate? I understand the Lakers suck, but like the things he's doing out there is ridiculous. And it came back to bite me on the ass because they're not making the playoffs. There's no such thing as an MVP candidate on a team that does not make the playoffs. That's just not gonna happen. But at the time, like, it made sense to me. I don't know if I was off of it, but it made so much sense to me. Like, this dude's averaging 30, 8 and 6, 50 from the field. He's shooting like 35, 36 from 3, which is like, that's pretty good for him. That's pretty damn good. I mean, he's not a guy that just chucks up a lot of threes, but he was chucking them up this year and he was making them. I think he had a career high in 3-point makes a game. I think it was. I don't have that exact number out of the top of my head, but yeah, LeBron James not making the first team, and I hope he doesn't watch this, eventually, whether it's tomorrow, 10 years from now, or if one of Bronny's friends shows him and says, hey, yo, this idiot put you on second team. Like, look at him. Like, you led the league in scoring. Why are you on second team? But it's all NBA junk. Winning does kind of matter. And if the Lakers haven't made the playoffs, I could make a case for them first team. But man, them not making the playoffs, I can't. Like, you're not doing me any justice. Like, you can't make first team and not make the playoffs. It just does not work like that. Especially the play-in. Like, that's how disappointing it is. Like, you don't make the play-in. Like, damn, man. Anyways, if I go on a Lakers tangent right now, the whole episode will end up being like 3 hours, and I don't want to do that to y'all. So anyways, I have LeBron James on my second team. It's sad for me, someone that respects LeBron. As you see, the man there right here, the king, the chosen one. It sucks, it sucks. But I had to, what I mean? I had to, and, I'll obviously explain why in a little bit. And to round out my second team is Nikola Jokic. Before y'all come to my crib with pitchforks and tomatoes and all that other stuff, the history of basketball, the history of all NBA, I should say, has one center on a team. I'm not putting Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid on the same team when neither of them played forward this year. They are both centers. I'm not putting them on the same team just so one of them can, be pleased with making first team. Do I want to put them both on first team? Yes. Do they deserve to be on first team, both of them? Yes. Because to me, like I said earlier before the show started, the all NBA teams are represented by the top 15 players in the NBA this season, arranged by position. Sadly, as you can see, arranged by position. Jokic and Embiid both play center. I had to pick one. Obviously, I'm going to get into Embiid later, but I picked Jokic to make second team. Why you say that? I know the advanced stats are crazy. It's crazy. Yesterday, he became the first player ever to have 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a year, which is crazy. And I saw a tweet, too, on that, and I think it showed, like, historical players under that were, and they had how many games they were shy of reaching such a feat, and I think Wilt Chamberlain was like 10 rebounds short, and like Bill Russell was this. It might not have been Bill Russell, but I remember seeing Wilt Chamberlain's name, Oscar Robertson, guys like that. They showed, there was a graphic that showed how many games, how many stat, like what was this, the quantitative stat, how much they were short by, how much they missed the feat by. And Wilt Chamberlain was, he was really close to making it. Oscar was really close to making it, but the fact that Nikola Jokic made it is insane. Like, that's really insane, especially for the team he's been playing on. People forget, Jamal Murray has not played a basketball game this year. He has not. Michael Porter Jr. has a messed up back. He has not played. The fact that he's doing this with guys like Will Barton, Bones Highland, shout out Bones Highland, shout out Eli, actually, my brother Elijah. He put me on a Bones Highland way before, like early on in the year. He tagged me and something, said, "Hey, you heard about this dude named Bones Highland?" I was like, "Who else? Bones Highland?" I clicked in. That boy's a bucket. He looks like so much fun to play with. But Will Barton, Bones Highland, Aaron Gordon, Austin Rivers, I think Campazzo. I can't even name the rest of the team. The dude from Iowa State, Monty Morris, the point guard. Like, man, the list goes on. And I really wanted to put him first team, but it's just like, man, like, is that how great the big men are right now? Joel, Jokic, Towns, Ayton, Giannis, Anthony Davis. Like, the bigs are coming. The bigs are here. I can't even say they're coming. They're here. But anyways, I had to put Jokic on second team. And for the main reason I put him on second team is because there's something about Joel Embiid and the jump he took this year. Jokic, I'll give it to Jokic. He's been hooping. Reigning MVP, he's been hooping. He deserves every penny, every ounce of respect that he can get. He deserves it. But, man, Embiid and Jokic is like splitting hairs. But I wasn't going to put them on the same team. I couldn't. If we're going to put them on the same team, then we should have made room for Kevin Garnett on the first team when Duncan was making it. And there were a lot of years that KG and Duncan were, like this. To this day, I still pick KG over Duncan. Like, if you tell me who I'm going to start a franchise with, I'm starting with KG. Slander me. I really don't give a damn. But I'm going with Kevin Garnett. That's just my personal preference. I just love what he brings to the floor on both sides. A very underrated playmaker. The intensity. I just feel like those factors can just they rub teammates the right way. They make you care about the game more. You know what I mean? A lot of people that talk about Russell Westbrook and his intensity and how much he loves and cares about the game, all that intensity, all that stuff was originated from Kevin Garnett. All of it was from Kevin Garnett. All the trash talking, the not giving a damn, being in your face, showing you up, and backing it up. That was Kevin Garnett. That was 100% Kevin Garnett. And we haven't seen anyone like him prior, and we might not see anyone like him again. We're seeing guys like Evan Mobley. I can't really name too many bigs, but a guy like Evan Mobley who looks like that, but you can't replicate that production. But back to what I was saying about Jokic, I just think that Embiid is obviously a better two-way player than Jokic. I think we can all agree on that. But the leap that Embiid took as a shot maker amidst all the Ben Simmons BS, all the Doc Rivers stuff going on, the team was in a nutshell of itself. The fact that Joel Embiid came out this year as a franchise player, especially for someone that was, rumored to be, well, not rumored, but, he's had his injury woes too. Someone that's not used to playing X amount of games. Someone that was, skeptical if maybe the franchise keys should be given to him or Ben Simmons. That was a real conversation at one point, whether it was his franchise or Ben's, because Joel kept getting hurt. Ben was hooping. When they started hooping together, obviously, they went to the Eastern Conference semifinals against Kawhi. There were a couple bounces from, potentially taking that series. Who knows what the world will look like if Kawhi doesn't hit that shot. Kawhi doesn't hit that shot and the Sixers end up advancing. Who knows what the world would look like. So Embiid, I just have to give him the upper edge just because I just feel like he's just dealt with more. And for all of you that are going to come in here and say James Harden, do not come in here and say anything about James Harden helping Embiid out. Please don't. He's a great floor general. He's a superb talent. But the James Harden you see right now is not the James Harden that we are going to be remembering when we announce his Hall of Fame induction. No, that's not the same James Harden. I believe that James Harden has not been the same since he returned to the Eastern Conference Finals from that hamstring injury. I don't think he's just the same. He's played on one leg. His first step doesn't look the same. He doesn't look like he's getting the same lift. The referees have turned on him with I can't say they turned on him. The calls that he was seeking, the hooking, that's backfired. They're not calling that ish no more. But he's still a natural born scorer. He still has the skill to get to the free throw line. All that hooking and all that stuff, that was not happening 10 years ago in OKC when he was coming off the bench, getting to that foul line in crunch time, or his first year in Houston when he went from being a 6-man a year immediately to a 25-26 point per game scorer. No. His bag is deeper than that. I hate that he even has to even think about seeking foul calls to be effective on the court. But that's not the same James Harden. And Joel Embiid being out there with guys like Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Matisse, the bench is thin. Doc Rivers has been a shell of himself since basically the Clippers bubble series. I just had to go Embiid. I had to go Embiid. Embiid's a better two-way player. Slander me. I love Jokic. I really do. And I wish I could put him first team, but I just think that would be ludicrous if we put Jokic on first team and Embiid on second. I just think that if we're talking dominance, just the best dominant players in the league right now, I don't think you're gonna name Embiid before you. I don't think you're gonna say Jokic before Embiid. If you think Jokic has had a better year than Embiid, I don't even think that even sounds right either. And I'm not saying Embiid's had a better year than Jokic, but if you're just picking one, I'm gonna go with Embiid. You know what I mean? It's been more of a start to finish, in my opinion. Jokic is so great. This is so tough. This is actually so tough. I was talking to someone at work today too, and they were telling me, really? You're going to go with Embiid? I went with Jokic. And I was like, bro, that's not a bad choice. That's a great choice. That's like splitting hairs. You know? That's really like splitting hairs. That's like, are you going to go D-Wade in his prime, or are you going to go Kobe in your prime? A lot of y'all are going to say Kobe, obviously. I mean, that's not really a great comparison. But I mean, not in terms of career, but like, for example, 2009, when they were both in the MVP race. Are you taking 2009 Kobe or 2009 Dwayne Wade? That's a legit conversation, seriously. People forget Dwayne Wade won the scoring champion. He won the scoring title in 2009. Last time I checked, he's not really the most polished scorer ever either. That's a guy that lived at the rim, slashing, lived in the post, used to bully guys. He was a freak. But for him at that size, to get a scoring title over guys like LeBron, Kobe Bryant, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, at that point, come on. Actually, I can't even say KD. I don't think he was in the league at that time. I might be mistaken. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. I just feel like if we're really talking about the best player from start to finish this year, it's going to be Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is my pick for MVP. I think he deserves it. He came out recently saying, hey, you know, he feels treated differently than other players. He's kind of seen as the villain. And some of that he brought himself with the whole trolling and whatnot, but that shouldn't take away from his dominance. And I just don't think that we're going to see a force like Embiid ever again. His combination of skill, footwork, strength, like he's indescribable. He's indescribable. Like the way he can just dominate, and especially in today's league where like bigs are scarce, like especially big bigs, like guys like DeAndre Ayton. You don't find guys like DeAndre Ayton or Bismack Biyombo to go throw on a guy like Giannis. Not even saying those guys could stop him, but you don't find that anymore. You really don't. It's much harder to. It really is. All the bigs now want to shoot threes. All the bigs now want to create off the dribble. All the bigs now think they think they're Giannis. It's like, no, you're not Giannis. Listen, you're not Giannis. You get your ass on the block, and go rebound the ball. You're not Giannis. So, you know, and it's crazy because Jokic is just like that too. You know, Jokic is a big, but he's a beautiful playmaker. One of, I mean, you could say Jokic is the most complete offensive player. You could say that. If you want to say he's the most complete offensive player in the league right now, you could. I wouldn't hate it. I mean, his efficiency is off the charts. He can shoot it. He can pass it. He's just the ultimate quarterback. So yeah, I had Jokic on my second team. So that rounds it out for my second team. Trae Young, John Morant, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic. Next up, the big one. The big first team All NBA. Stay tuned. Don't move a muscle.
What's up? Yo, what's up, Money? What you doing here, man? We got a meeting at the ball court.
When is it?
Tomorrow morning.
You can't make it, man.
What do you mean you can't make it?
I got a real important appointment.
Well, how important is it?
It's my DJ audition.
Man? All right, Q. I'm gonna straighten this out with the rest of the boys, but make sure you get there after you're done. This is serious business. So we're gonna wait for you.
It's cool. Why don't you tell me what it is now? Get it over with.
Later. By the way, good luck, man.
Smooth.
All right, man. It's time. The one we've really been waiting for. Act right. The big NBA first team, mofo. Alright, kick us off. I'm gonna go through them, man. Oh, man, I know some people gonna come in my neck, man. Y'all gonna think I got crazy. Like, yo, Nass over there on YouTube, he wildin'. Like, nah, man. It's what it is, bro. It's what it is. So, alright, NBA first team. Luka Doncic.
Killian Hayes up on Luka. Luka scored against him last time. And this ends up in the hands of Dorian Finney-Smith. Yes, sir.
To make a play like this, you have to know where everybody is. Last minute.
Devin Booker.
Way to get your rhythm going. Booker working on Trent Jr. The left hand.
Kevin Durant.
For the Nets controller. They trail by 9. We're going to hit the 2-minute mark. Oh, no. Oh, yes!
Greek freak Giannis.
Trying to get that screen from Embiid. And Harden steps back. He was going for the lead. Embiid with a putback, not there.
Oh, what a block by Giannis.
And they got a review on the foul call.
And Joel Embiid.
Garland all over Curry. Embiid stepping back and stroking two.
I already went on my Joel tangent, so I don't really gotta touch up on that. The big kahuna was Jokic Embiid. That's really who you're going with. Which one you're going with? I already told y'all I'm going with Embiid. I already explained why, so I don't really gotta get into him. Luka Doncic, 28, 9-9 on the year. He's the only player this year going 28, 7-7. He's carrying the Mavs a 4 seed with no All-Star. 5 straight 30-point games. I think he's at like 6 now. I think he had like 39 tonight. And he's beating every MVP candidate. And by MVP candidate, I mean he's beating Giannis. He's beating Joel Embiid. He's beating Nikola Jokic. I don't know if Steph's on that list. It might be Steph. Might be Ja. Might be LeBron. It might be all of them. All of them he's beaten. It's a tough feat. It's not an easy feat. I just feel like Luka Doncic is someone that should be getting a lot more respect in the MVP conversation. Me personally, I'd probably have him third on my ballot. I'd probably have him third, to be honest. I'd honestly have him over Giannis. Just because, and this is not to take anything away from Giannis. Great player. But if you're seeing what Luka has been dealing with, Luka started his year with Porzingis. They flipped Porzingis for Dinwiddie and what's his name? I apologize, I'm going blank. Bertrands, the tall dude. Bertrands and Dinwiddie come to Dallas mid-season, and they get rolling, and they're still rolling. And he's literally the reason. Like, there's no other reason why the Mavs are where they are. Luka Doncic is the reason they are where they are, and this is gonna be potentially his third first-team All-NBA in 4 years. Third. I'm not gonna lie. I heard that on a podcast, and I don't know whose podcast it was. It wasn't JJ's. I think it might have been Bill Simmons. Maybe the real ones. Anyways, I don't know. All the smoke. It was one of those go-to podcasts I listened to, but they were saying that this is gonna be his third first-team All-NBA in 4 years. The only other player to do that is Tim Duncan. That's ridiculous. I just think Luka, when you go into terms of valuable, and I hate to get into MVP stuff just because we're doing first team All-NBA, but when you get into valuable, who's most valuable? Has Giannis really been more valuable to Milwaukee than Luka has been to Dallas? Can you really look yourself in the mirror and say that? Really? Especially with that roster? If you believe that, then someone should name off the rest of the next 5 Dallas players on that roster, or name the starting lineup besides Luka, if you really are. Because I know you can name the Bucks lineup. I know that. I know you can name Chris Middleton. I know you can name Drew Holiday. I know you can name those 2 to start, but who are the next 2 over there? And you can't even count Dinwiddie and Bertrands because I just told you that. But my point is like, man, Luka is on some 2007, 2008 LeBron shit. When it comes to this carrying stuff, that's what he's on. That's really what he's on. Everyone saw his coming out party versus the Clippers, but I really think he should get more respect in the MVP conversation. A lot of people are talking about Devin Booker this, Devin Booker that, Devin Booker that. You guys are falling for narratives. Devin Booker should be in the MVP conversation, undisputed. But the love and the the force that's really being driven with him, like people. It's like, you picture yourself pushing someone towards the door. That's how people are pushing this narrative for Devin Booker to get MVP. And it's like, yo, pump the brakes. There are other guys who are just as deserving, if not more. And I think Luka Doncic is just as deserving. Actually, he's more deserving. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I really do think it should go Joel Jokic, whatever it is. I mean, my MVP pick of right now is Joel. But it's going to go Joel Jokic or Jokic Joel, one of the two. That's how they're going to finish. I don't think Giannis is getting top 2. I don't think KD's getting top 2. I don't think any of those guys are getting top 2. I think it's just going to be, Giannis. Not Giannis. I mean, Joel or Jokic, or other way around. And I think third should be Luka. If you're talking about valuable, like the numbers, he checks the numbers. They're third in the West. I think the third in the West. He has the numbers, so those 2 tests are passes. And when you talk about rosters in terms of being valuable, like, are you going to take Milwaukee's core outside of Giannis, or are you going to take Dallas's core outside of Giannis? You take Luka off that team's not making the playoffs. Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson, they're going to lead Dallas to the playoffs. They'd probably be in the same position as the Sacramento Kings, honestly, truthfully speaking. And I like Jalen Brunson a lot. He's a heck of a player. But he thrives a lot playing off of Luka. I think we can all agree on that. So, enough on Luka. He was on my fantasy team this year too. So, me and Luka, we got a special connection. That's my boy, you know what I mean? And he plays the right way. And I love that. One thing I love about Luka is that whole stat pad thing that, people like to say with Russell Westbrook. He gets rebounds. He goes and gets rebounds. I think that's just a skill that it's a lost art now. It's not cool to get rebounds. But the whole point of the game is to gain possession. When someone shoots the ball and the ball breaks off the rim and it's in the air for a half second or millisecond or whatever, the goal at hand is to go get the ball. If you're one of the best players at your position at going and getting the basketball every night, why are you, that's real energy. That's energy exerted. You're not watching someone else go do it. Rebounding is not just for big men. I don't know where that came from. It's not just for big men. Point guards can go get rebounds too. Luka Doncic goes and gets rebounds. DeJounte Murray goes and gets rebounds. I understand in this league, the spacing is wider, so there's a lot of longer misses, but a rebound's a rebound. It's either do you want it or not. That's what it comes down to. If you don't want the ball, then okay, whatever, but listen, man, Luka wants the ball. And I have to give him credit. I mean, that's energy. That's him working. That's him wanting the ball in his hands. And I mean, no one else on the team is gonna, want the ball in their hands before Luka. So I mean, why not? So I just want to give a quick shout out to Luka. First team All-NBA. I think it's a lock too. I think he's definitely gonna make it. I think he's probably one of, to my opinion, I think he's one of 3 locks. One of 3 locks to make first team. If I'd be shocked if one of these 3 locks that I claim are gonna make first team All-NBA, if they don't make it, I'll be shocked. I'll be jaw dropped. So that's Luka. Next to Luka in the backcourt is Devin Booker. 27-5-5 on the year, best record in the league, shooting 37% from 3, 86 from the line. He's making just under 3 threes a game. There's nothing more I can say. Devin Booker, I can't say but people used to, label him as an empty stats guy, the way they kind of used to label Trae Young and other, past young guys. But, man, the way he's come out this year has been very, very impressive. He's just going and getting it. He had a great playoff run, helped beat the Lakers. And before I go on, Devin Booker is the best player on the Suns. Enough of the Chris Paul's best player on the Suns. Chris Paul is a great player, but just because you are the floor general and you run the offense, that does not make you the best player on the team. The best player on the Phoenix Suns is Devin Booker. I don't want to hear no more CP3. I'm tired of that. How is CP3, and I'm sorry that I'm going on a tangent, but I was listening to someone, I was walking in my car and heard these 2 people talking. And they were talking hoop, obviously. So, me, my nosy ass, I just had to, I didn't chime in, but I heard them. We're at a crosswalk. And, 2 boys were talking. They were like, oh, Chris Paul's the best player in the Suns, blah, 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 blah. This dude looked at me, he was like, bro, what are you talking about, bro? And I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about, dog? Devin Booker has basically been 26, 5-5 since he was 21, 22. They made the finals last year. Yeah, they lost. Made the finals. He was hooping. Finishes the finals. Goes to Tokyo. Gets a gold medal. Comes back and is turning up just like Giannis did. Giannis basically did the same thing. People are talking about, Giannis came back from the finals. He came back different. Devin Booker came back different. He He booted LeBron and them. He said, "Get out of here. You're out." I know AD went down, whatever, but I mean, injuries happen, but he still won. You know what I mean? And you heard him, that comment when AD made some petty comment about the Suns beating the Lakers without him. And he says, "Oh, we already know what would have happened." And Booker's just laughing. And he should laugh, because AD can't talk. You got hurt. I mean, I get it. You won a ring. They didn't win a ring, but bro, you can't talk. Come on, dog. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that, my man. You know? Devin Booker needs a little bit more respect. I personally don't have him as high as an MVP candidate as other people, but I definitely think he should be in the running. I think if you're gonna speak that high of him as an MVP candidate, then you gotta throw Tatum in there. Simple. And I don't think Tatum's been getting a lot of MVP love either. I think Booker's been getting more. And personally, I think it should be. Actually, no, I can't really say. I mean, CP3 did miss time, and Booker was hooping, like damn near 30 points, 5 rebounds, 6-7 assists, great shooting numbers, and they were winning games. They didn't want to coach streak when CP3 went down. That's why that's basically my whole point. The argument is enough with the whole CP3 stuff. He is a point guard. He's great. But CP3 is also averaging, like, I think he's shooting like 41% from the field or something crazy like that. I get he's a floor general, he's making things happen, but CP3 is not the same player, guys. We don't need to just, you know, continue giving him disrespect because he's CP3. This is not a career achievement award. This is this year right now. Who's better? Devin Booker is better than Chris Paul right now. I just apologize. This just is what it is. I don't think it should be, you know, I don't think you should trip about it. I just think it's the flat out truth. And if you don't believe that, then, I mean, I guess that's just your problem. But anyways, D-Book, first team, 2-guard, locked in. Now it's the front court. Mr. Slim Money, easy money sniper, Kevin Durant. It really pains me. It really pains me because he was going to get MVP had he not sprained his MCL. Kyrie was not playing yet, period. He wasn't even part-time. He wasn't playing. James Harden, I just said his hamstring has not been the same since last year's playoffs. I think he's a complete different player now. I refuse to believe otherwise because I have yet to see a 20-game sample of him just killing between Brooklyn and Philly, or just on Philly or just on Brooklyn. I've yet to see it. The last time we saw James Harden play at this tier 1A level was last year, where he was an MVP candidate, but last year, I believe in 2021, and he had that, there was a game, I hit Chase, we were talking about Harden, and I had hit Chase, and I said, hey, remember that game when he went to Phoenix, KD and Kyrie weren't playing, he outplayed Booker and CP3 on the road and beat them? That's the last version of Harden that we saw, and I'm afraid I don't think we're going to get that Houston Harden again. I just don't think his hamstring is 100%. I don't know what to think about it. It's sad because Philly gave up shit for it, but it is what it is. And I hate to get sidetracked with Philly, but you know, back to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant having to deal with that, and then no Kyrie, and the lineups are changing every night. COVID, it was insane. He has the most 50-point games this year, 3. He's a couple points under the 50-40-90 club, which that's a club he's already in. Career high in assists. And I'm holding on to, he was the NBA's scoring leader. He was the NBA's projected scoring champ, and the Nets were the 1 seed. That's it. That's all he needs. If Kevin Durant is leading the league in scoring, the Nets are the 1 seed, and he was doing that with Kyrie and Harden on their own BS, then there's no, I don't care what Jokic's numbers look like. Because people love to come in here talking about, oh, well, how many wins does he have? That's what they say with every MVP candidate. But you have the numbers, scoring champ, and leading the conference in wins, 1 seed. Obviously, hypothetically, that didn't happen. You know what I mean? He got hurt. It didn't happen. I get it. It's reality. I've accepted it. But I just think he needs to get his more respect. I mean, he's still participating in 55 games. I know some people are going to hold him off first team because of the amount of games he's played. But he played 55 games. That's just about what? 3/4? A little bit over 3/4? Like 3/4. It's above 3/5. Like 3/4 a year. I mean, bro, what gives? Why wouldn't you put him up there? Like, why else? And if not him, who? Because a lot of people are talking about LeBron James, this, LeBron James, that. And I was just talking about him and how I put him on second team. And I'm not taking anything away from LeBron. Arguably the best player ever. You know, he's checked off everything. I don't really need to get into him. But Kevin Durant is just like that, too. Just like that. Oh, Kevin Durant's not a playmaker. Oh, he's not. All those double teams he's been facing this year, well, he's averaging a career high in assists with 6. No one's saying he's LeBron James playmaking, but I mean, man, somebody's got to give. You know, you got to give the man the respect at the end of the day. And this is, people don't even understand. This is someone I used to hate. He left my man Russ at OKC. People who really know me knew how hurt I was when he left and went to Golden State, and I hated him. I actually went through a very hateful period with Kevin Durant, and I know he don't give a damn. No one gives a damn that I hate Kevin Durant. It's like, how you gonna waste your time hating someone you don't know, especially one of the most gifted basketball players ever. So when he came to Brooklyn, I was like, you know what? Not even Brooklyn. Like 2019, I was like, you know what? This guy is really like that. This guy's really like that. A lot of people talk about, oh, Kevin Durant was riding on Steph's ponytails for rings and stuff. But he's the one who won back-to-back Finals MVPs and was outplaying arguably the greatest player ever. What? I know Mike doesn't have that on his resume. Mike's never been outplayed in the finals ever by anyone. 6-0. He's never been outplayed in the finals ever. I'm not slandering LeBron, but Kevin Durant's gotten him twice. And in 2012, he gave him 30. So it's like, come on, bro. Like, use your head a little bit. And you're saying this is not. There's levels to this. There's really levels. Like I don't know what else he'd have to prove to you. Like, what is it? Like what does the man have to prove to you? Is it because his hair's nappy? Is it because he's all over y'all memes? Is it because he bites y'all on Twitter? Don't tweet him. Don't tweet him. You know what I mean? But don't let that get in the way of your respect for him as a basketball player. Personally think he was a lock on first team. The edge he has on LeBron is he made the playoffs. And they were kind of dealing with the same cards. Players not playing, COVID, you know, it's been a lot, you know what I mean? It's been a lot. I just think that he needs a little bit more respect. He definitely needs to be more respected. And like I said, this is coming from someone that was very hurt when he left my point guard, Russell Westbrook. I was really hurt by that. But I got over it. I adore his play. He has a great podcast. And he's just like, man, have y'all been seeing these one-legged jumpers he's taking? Like, KD's on some shit. Like, I don't know what he's eating. I don't know what it is. And I think personally he's just in his prime in terms of skill. Like, you know, when Kobe hit like 2000 from like 2009 to 2012, he hit this new page. He hit this new god level like of scoring ability. Like, there was nothing you could do. You could not mess with Kobe at that point in time in his career. You could, not saying you could mess with him prior, but at that point, after years of experience, years of reps, years of picking his spots, understanding, there was no one that was messing with him. And I think guys like KD and Kyrie and Steph and LeBron, they're going through it right now. They just know their spots, and they're just, you know, taking full advantage. They're taking full advantage because all those guys are in their early 30s, and they're taking full advantage of it. So to say the least, I just think KD is, you know, a lock on first team, and you know, that's that. That's really that. I had to give him the edge over LeBron. That was actually that was really the fiasco I was having in my head. You know, the little conundrum was, should I go KD first team or LeBron? LeBron's about to win a scoring title, but KD's averaging 30 as well. He led his team to the 1 seed before he got hurt. Not just that, he's playing with a bunch of JV players. His 2 running mates are in and out of the lineup. One of them not even playing. It's like, man, what else do you want from this man? Like, for real, like, bro, like what else do you want him to wash all the game shorts after too? Like, what else do you want him to do? You want him to go out, drop 50, wash the game shorts and drive the bus back to the airport. Like what else this dude gotta do? What does he gotta do? So yeah, Kevin Durant, man, shout out Slim Money. Continue being great. And lastly, I have Giannis, Greek freak. You know, arguably the best player in the league right now. If any of y'all saw my pyramid, I ranked him, KD, and LeBron basically in this, like, if you picture a pyramid, for all my people throwing the rock up, you know what I'm saying, Rockefeller. If you picture a pyramid and then you cut the pyramid in half, like right here, I basically had Giannis, LeBron next to each other, and I had KD right here at the apex, at the very top of the pyramid. And if you think Giannis is in that spot, that's okay. I can't knock you. He's the reigning champ, reigning Finals MVP. He already has 2 MVPs under his belt. He's already Giannis, and it's crazy because if Giannis, God forbid, but if his career came short tomorrow, he's already a top 15 player, and he's not gonna do a top 10. Honestly, and now I think about it, I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. This is the first time it's popping in my head of where Giannis might rank all time if his career was to end right now. If his career ended right now, there's no way you're naming 15 players better than him. No way. Especially what he brings on the defensive end, his versatility, his ability to dribble the ball, he has the jewelry now, Finals MVP. And now I think he's on the list, the very short list of guys to have an MVP and a Finals MVP. It's not a long list. That's like MVP and Finals MVP. That's like Shaq, Duncan, LeBron, Mike, Larry Bird. It's a very short list. It's not a very long list. I'll just put it that way. But I had to put Giannis on the team. 29, 11, and 6. That's just sicko. Like he has a crack at the scoring title too. It's wild. It's really wild. But yeah, that's my first team, man. Luka Doncic, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't even know how to pronounce it right. Don't kill me. And Joel Embiid. Kind of draining, right? Kind of draining. It's kind of draining. My head kind of hurts a little bit. This whole talking a lot thing it's not as easy, man. It's not as easy. I got a lot of people coming on the way. I got a lot of my boys that, you know, that got different interests that I want to have on the show and have really great conversations with. A lot of them obviously talk hoop. So, you know, I got that on the way. For those of you that haven't checked out my player pyramid for NGSC Sports, definitely take a peek at that. That's the top 25 players in the league right now. That I dropped, I believe. I dropped that last week. It's a 3-part. It's about like, I think each part's about like 9 minutes, 10 minutes read. But it's a piece that I'm very proud of. It was an honor to, you know, be able to, you know, take a deep dive at all these players, analysis, and really just, you know, rank them. This stuff is so fun, man. This stuff is just so fun to me. I know I don't look like I'm having a good time, but it's been fun doing it. It's been fun doing it. So yeah, man, that's a close on episode 4 and Nass. I apologize for all the eye rubbing and all that stuff to distract you, but I hope y'all took the content that I was bringing out and, you know, you really interpreted it and, you know, kind of made you think. You know, the whole point is to make you think. That's really the whole goal at this. This is all fun and games and stuff, but the whole goal is to make the fans and viewers and you know, lovers of the game of basketball to really think about the current space we're in, you know, with the sport. And yeah, that's really it. So, ladies and gents, let's close on episode 4. Full pockets full. My pockets are empty, but yeah, episode 4. Thanks for the continued support and the love. Please subscribe, tap in, stay locked in. I really have a lot more on the way. Follow Nass Pod or Nass the Pod. It sounds weird when I say that, but that's my IG page. That's where I post. That's kind of like my little, it's a cross between like a sports museum, like a basketball, football museum, culture, and kind of like my life. It's kind of like my whole, all of those 3 parts coming together and just my world, kind of just where my brain is at, basically 24 hours of the day. So follow that on Instagram, subscribe, like, comment, do whatever you want. I don't really care. Just do something, please. At least create some buzz. Start a stupid debate with someone down there. I don't care. I'll probably chime in and try and break it up with something. But all right, ladies and gents, that's B.I.G. I like that. All right, y'all.
To keep offensive pressure on them. Watch the defense of Kenyon Martin. Watch where his hand goes as Kobe lets this go. Right in his face. Watch that hand.